Welcome back to On the Slab Horror Show with me, your host, King Woe himself, Carl King Woe. As you can see, it's like a revolving door on the slab. But hey, the returning man tonight is none other than Tombstone Ted. How are you, brother?
Not too bad, bud. How are you?
Great. It's been a while since we've been on together, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the last couple have been me and Greg, and then I think there was one with me, Ian and Greg, and then a couple with guests and stuff that Greg has done a great job of lining up, I have to say.
Great team. Great work by Greg. He's doing a stellar job. And being a redhead, you wouldn't think he was able to do shit like that. But Jesus, he's
off in Spain now, so didn't think he'd be able to do that either, but he's somehow managing it.
Well, here, look. The lad. We always say it on this show. We always bring this to you every Friday. Why do we bring it to you on Friday nights?
Well, because over here in Ireland, Friday night was horror night.
Yes.
So we got to stick with that, Yes. This is old school stuff.
Yes, a lot of old school opinions on it. But now and again, we like to bring a bit of a more modern flavor to things when you come in that Tombstone,
Yeah, I'm big on the modern stuff. I try to get to the cinema a lot, so I see a lot of the modern stuff that comes out, and then I tend to rattle it off to you boys like this one's good, this one's not good. Get on this one. Like I think X was probably the big one this year that I tipped to you, and then Firestarter. That's tipped the opposite direction. I said don't bother with Firestarter, lads. Not interested.
I have to say, I'm really looking forward to the Black Phone.
Out this week, I think.
Yeah, it's out this week. I was looking at someone on Facebook earlier on. I think one of Tom Savini's guys was him and Tom Savini were at the premiere last night. I think it was. And I think they worked on it, but they thought it was fantastic. They said it was fantastic. So
it's been delayed like 3 times now, because I've been buzzing to go to it since like January, and it just kept getting pushed back and pushed back. I'm not really sure what pushed it back in the end, but I'm looking forward to it. All right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's gonna be awesome. But look, we're gonna just have a little chat tonight. Really, there's no real agenda as such. Myself and yourself, we're just gonna shoot the breeze about horror and all that kind of stuff. And I love getting your opinion on stuff because you're always you're always like, I wouldn't say you're in the middle, but you know exactly when you're talking about something, you know what you're talking about,
I'm a bit in depth on stuff, all right. I kind of catch stuff that other people don't really look out for, I suppose. I'm a different cat when it comes to stuff like that.
Well, I'll tell you what, before we go into that little chat, how is Retrotainment Recast doing? Just tell us.
Oh, it's doing pretty well. Obviously, the latest episode came out yesterday. I won't tell you who's champ or who's not.
I've yet to watch it, so.
Yeah, I won't tell you who's champ and who's not champ at the moment. I can tell you what episode it is because it would have been said on the previous episode. The previous episode was Goodfellas, obviously.
Lovely.
After Ray Liotta passed away, we said we better give a little jump to that one. And we went for a short episode this week.
And a short episode for you is like 2 hours.
It is, but it's more the cast that was short. So normally we try to go 7 or 9 because 7 gives you the opportunity to drop a point or two and not be in no man's land.
Yeah.
And then 9, obviously, just sometimes the cast is so big that you just can't cut everyone out. We went a bit shorter this time, so 5. So dropping 2 early here was a big deal. And we went with, I suppose it's technically a horror, but it's a children's horror. The Mystery Machine gang themselves.
Oh, Scooby-Doo.
Now, obviously, we don't recast Scooby-Doo because that's just a voice actor.
Yeah.
And it's, it's too difficult to do that. So it's the 4 others and then Rowan Atkinson.
It's quite modern though, wasn't it? Like it was quite recent.
2000. It's not really. You think it is, but it's like 2002 because you have to think that's back when Freddie Prinze and Buffy, Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah.
Like they were. That's when they were first big. Like so, it's 20 odd years ago.
Doesn't seem that long. She doesn't. But
No, it doesn't.
yeah. And there's funny enough, what's his name? That played Shaggy in that.
Oh, what's his real name? Jeez, it's bad that both of us are blanking
I
because
know,
he's a big
and he's
horror
in
guy.
Scream, like.
Yeah.
What's his name? Fuck's sake.
Matthew Lillard.
Yeah, I was
Big name.
I was gonna say Fred Willard, and that
Yeah.
that's your man from Spinal Tap and all that other kind of stuff.
No, Matthew Lillard. Jeez, that's a bad one. Edit that out. That neither of us could remember that. Jesus.
Greg will kill us for that.
Yeah, no, and I'm a big fan of his as well. Like, because obviously Scream is one of my all-time favorite horrors. So like, just it's bad not knowing that.
Yeah, and actually, let's talk about the Scream franchise for a few minutes since you love it so much.
Yeah.
What's your take on the whole aspect of the killer? I mean, I love the look of the killer, and I love the fact that the outfit was like a normal bought in the shop type thing, even in the program. Sorry, in the film.
Yeah.
And what did you think? Like,
I love that because it makes it so simple. Like if you think about like obviously you've got your Freddys, your Jasons, and stuff like that, and you know, okay, they're wearing relatively normal clothes, but I think this is, you know, it's set around sort of Halloween time, so these things are in the shop, and you know that makes sense. Like you're not sitting at home crafting up a costume, you know what I mean?
no.
And if you were, it's going to be pretty easy to catch you because it'd be like, well, this guy bought this, and this, and that's all the stuff the killer used. Case solved, lads. Whereas if it's
He's
just,
wearing
you
a
know,
skin face.
yeah, and like this one is just like, oh, it's just a generic shit that you buy in any shop
Costume
for like
shop or whatever,
costumes, and then they're just using a knife from the house.
Yeah.
Simple, effective, and like I love the idea that it could be any like it's, you know, it's very common now and everyone understands the plot line, but like back then when it first came out in 96, the double killer, no one was expecting that.
And that's the kind of, I suppose you could say, it's a horror film, but it's like would you class it as like a teenage horror film?
It's a whodunit.
Yeah.
Right. So I love whodunits. I love films like that. So like Poirot, so like Death on the Nile and stuff that came out recently. Like I love all them, and you know, even though I knew the answer to Death on the Nile, I knew who did that, and you know, what's the other one? The train to I can't remember. They're on a train or whatever. Like I know what the answer is because I've seen them all before, and they re-released the films. I love all that stuff.
Orient Express, was that or something?
Yeah, Murder on the Orient Express. That's it. Like I love them, you know, like the whodunits and those like games like Cluedo and stuff like, or yeah, Cluedo, you know, where you just have to like work out and you're like, okay, it could be this person, it could be that person. I love all that.
Yeah.
And most of the time you don't get that in a horror, because in a horror it's, well, this guy's the killer, like we've told you, like this is definitely it. Whereas in Scream they were kind of like, well, is it this person, is it not this person? Then they released a TV series, which the first 2 seasons are really good.
I've never watched it, believe it or not.
The first 2 seasons are really good, and then I don't know what happened, but the 3rd season doesn't get made. They make a 3rd season, but it's like a whole new cast, and it doesn't refer back to the first 2 series. So I don't know what happened there. I was a little annoyed about it because the 2nd series left itself off with a really nice cliffhanger, which is kind of shitty. But like overall, I think the Screams are very good. Like, and you know, they kind of had that bit of comedy in them as well. Like Scream 3 is very comedic and stuff like that, but it was the sort of horror film that lends itself to that. Like you can't, you know, Jaws couldn't be a comedy.
No.
Predator you couldn't really have as a comedy. Whereas Scream, you know, yeah, you can see a bit of, you know, a little bit of comedy and stuff thrown into that, and it doesn't hurt the franchise too much. I think it's probably one of the strongest franchises.
I think so. Yeah.
We discussed this before. It's probably one of the strongest horror franchises overall. When you take out, like, I'm not saying it has the best singular film.
No.
But I think its weakest film is stronger than most of the weaker films in the other franchises.
Yeah. Well, I mean, those other franchises, I mean, a lot of them, as you know, a lot of them are just filler, you know, like.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, I mean, when it starts going to 7 and 8 and all this kind of shit, I'm just like, forget about it. You know?
Like even Halloween 3, like 2, 3, 4, like even then it was kind of tailing off, and you know, like.
But you know, I loved. I don't know if you
that.
I love Halloween 3.
Yeah, like I
as a
still enjoy
standalone
them.
film.
Yeah, I still enjoy them, but they made him this more mystical being, which kind of took away from the whole idea that he's just a standard human being.
Yeah,
Which kind of hurts the first film in a sense. So as a standalone, they're probably fine, but as a series or like, and like if you're watching them as like a canon thing, it kind of doesn't work that well. Where Scream kind of does, because moves on to a new killer, but the new killer is somehow related to the old killers and stuff.
One,
like, and it's a nice spin on continue. Like it's a nice continuation of it the whole time.
And it's quite gory when it wants to be as well.
Yeah, they don't shy away from that anyway.
No, which I'm happy about.
And yeah, like you said, it's very teenage based as well. Like which, well, I wasn't a teenager in '96, but I probably didn't watch it in '96 either. I probably was a couple of years older. I probably was 13 or 14 when I was watching it, which is still a bit younger than they are. But you're kind of in that mindset of
like Kerry loved it when she watched it. You know what I mean? And she was dying for the other episodes or the other films.
And did she know the twist?
Oh no, I didn't tell her. I never.
No, because like it's quite a pop culture icon twist now. Like it's become so like Greg hadn't seen it until like 2 or 3 years ago. Greg had never seen the original Scream.
Wow.
In his head, he was convinced he'd seen it because he knew the twist. He knew so much about the film, but he was like, I've never seen this.
Yeah.
When he actually sat down to watch it, so like it's become such a pop icon. I was like, that's why I was wondering, did she know already? It's a double killer. So I'd say that was a bit of a shock for her.
It was, and to see and like that, to see her face when it happened, like, was great. Like, same like that when we watched the Blair Witch Project, because she'd never seen that.
Yeah, that's a one-time watch.
A one-time watch, but now I had to sit through it again, obviously. But
with her, but it's you're getting a different experience because you're getting to sit down with your kid.
It was great.
You're not watching the film as much as you're watching her, if that makes sense. You're kind of side-eyeing her the whole time, like, let's see how she feels about this bit. And here comes this bit.
There's another type of horror, the found footage.
Yeah,
I mean, like, I still think that was the best one, Blair Witch.
I think that was the best one because for a long time people believed it.
Yeah.
Well,
it was done so well. It was done so well, like,
See, it was released in a time where grainy, shitty footage was accepted.
Yeah, well, it was normal.
Like it was accepted, and that's the way things looked. Whereas if you go out and shoot a film in grainy, shitty stuff now, people are kind of like, why didn't they use better cameras and this? And it's the one thing I did like about X is that obviously it's set back in the the 70s and 80s, and they use a kind of grainier camera, and I think that works for that, because if you have a HD camera, doesn't work for it. Like, why does the 70s look in, like, why is it HD in the 70s? That doesn't make sense. You know what I mean?
So true.
So you had like what was the other one? Cloverfield, was that the one that was released in like the early 2000s? Again, kind of the camera work's not too bad because they use a lot of the shaking camera and
I didn't like it. I loved the whole concept, but I hated the camera work, and I know it was done for a reason, but it just didn't. I didn't enjoy the film because of it.
Yeah, but because people knew it was a film, like, there was advertisements and stuff before it came out in the cinema, and everyone was like, oh, it's a film. Whereas Blair Witch was kind of a little bit different. Yeah. Because I don't know, did Blair Witch ever actually come out in the cinema?
Oh, it did. I went to see it in the cinema, yeah.
So it came out in the cinema, but it wasn't like a super hyped film. They're like, Cloverfield was really hyped up, and there was all these ads and stuff. Whereas this was just kind of like this found foot, like this lost footage.
It was initially put out as like a
true story.
It real or not? Yeah,
Yeah.
And well, I mean, I watched it in the cinema when it came out, and it was very, very fucking realistic, I have to say.
Yeah, they did a great job on it.
Yeah.
And that's, I suppose there's not really much, you can't do that too much anymore because everyone kind of,
that, I mean, you can't. I mean, I think I was going to watch a film there earlier today, but called Spree. Did you ever hear of it?
No.
So it's on Netflix, I think. But it's about this guy who's looking for, he has his own YouTube channel, and he's like 10 followers or whatever, and he's looking for a way to get kind of famous on it. So he's in a taxi, like an Uber taxi, but the app is called Spree.
Okay.
And so basically he sets all the cameras up in his car, and he starts killing people in that.
Okay, yeah, I can see how that, like, it's an interesting concept.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a modern kind
the
of
problem
a
is,
take.
it's not real, because if it was real, they wouldn't have made a film about it. Like,
Yeah,
that's kind of what's happened now. It's why that sort of, found footage sort of thing doesn't really work so much
no,
anymore, because we all know, well, if this was true, I'd have read about it by now.
yeah, that's it.
Um,
I mean, but as well as that, I think a lot of people, well, a lot of audiences nowadays they don't bother leaving their brain at the door.
yeah, I did the Ted Bundy one, actually. I will say that I think that was done quite well. That looked like it was shot in a kind of old school thing. The one with Zac Efron.
Yeah, yeah.
I
He
think that
played
was
him
done
very
quite.
well, didn't he?
I think he did that very well, and I think the way they shot it, kind of intercuts of like what really happened. So like, it's real, like all this actually did happen, but obviously we don't know exactly what happened because he never told anyone what
Yeah.
really happened. So they had to like fill in the gaps, and then they shot it in kind of an old school kind of camera.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought that was done very well. Like, that's probably the closest to is it real? Is it not real? And obviously that is real, but like, it's probably the closest we've got to something like Blair Witch since then, I'd say.
Yeah, probably, yeah. But like you said, like Blair Witch is a one-time watch. It really, really is.
Yeah, once you've seen it, you're kind of like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I know what happens here, and that's in it. And I know you could say that about any film. Like, you've seen Jaws, you know what happens in it, but it's the story in
Oh,
Jaws
that's
and
got yeah.
the
That's got
acting and stuff. Like, it's got a rewatchability in it, whereas that's not. It's a little bit different, because you know what happens in the found footage. Like,
yeah. And I like that. I mean, as well as that, the characters are kind of assholes in it.
yeah,
Whereas
which
in Jaws, I love William Dreyfus in that. You know what I mean?
yeah, you have a bit of
Sorry,
love for
Richard
everyone.
Dreyfus. Sorry. Yeah,
Yeah, but you
yeah.
have a bit of love for everyone. Like, even the guy who is an asshole, you're like, he is, but I do.
He's a rogue.
You're like, I do. He's kind of a lovable asshole. It's kind of like
Yeah.
Han Solo. Like, Han Solo's an asshole. Like, let's not
Yeah.
get this wrong. Like, that guy's a dickhead.
Mm-hmm.
But like, he's so lovable and charismatic that you're like, and maybe that's not really Han Solo. Maybe that's just the fact that Harrison Ford's so lovable. But you're like, I do like him. Yeah, he's a good character. And it's important. Like, that's a big thing in films. Feeling and connecting with a character. It's very important. If you can't connect with the character, the film doesn't connect with you.
Let's segue for a minute. I like the way you brought up the word character. There's a couple of films that I'm sure you've seen that the actors were totally out of their comfort zone, and that would be Robin Williams with 1 Hour Photo.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen it. I'm sure you have. But what's his name? Kevin Costner with Mr. Brooks.
Oh, Greg loves that.
Yeah, but like they're two lads totally out of what you would expect. They're like, those two films are more or less psychological horror films or whatever. But like, I mean, look how chilling Robin Williams was in that film. Oh my God, he was brilliant.
Well, this is the thing. Robin Williams is fondly remembered as one of the best, if not the best, comedy actor of his generation. And
yeah.
I say of his generation because I'm sure there's people out there who'll say Jim Carrey was just as good, and Ben Stiller, and like, in their own right, yes, they were very good and things, but for the 80s, like 70s to 80s, Robin Williams was the man for comedy.
Yeah.
But then he, and everyone was like, yeah, he's a great comedy actor, but that's it. Like, he's a comedy actor and that's his gimmick. And like, don't take him out of that role. But he's proved hundreds of times.
Oh yeah.
Well, not hundreds of times, but
dozens of times.
Loads of times in different films like Good Will Hunting and stuff like that. What is it? Oh, Captain My. It's not called Oh Captain My Captain, but where he's the English teacher.
Oh, we're Dead Poet Society.
Dead Poet Society, like, and then obviously in the horrors as well. Like, he's shown that he was very versatile.
Yeah.
Like, he could turn it on when he needed to.
Absolutely, and I think it's that you can tell he's a little bit crazy.
Oh, he was. Oh, yeah, he was. The guy was wild.
Yeah, and he always brought a little bit of that into each character, but just his demeanor in 1 Hour Photo, and his, like you say, his creepiness. He was just so unassuming as the character.
It's like he understands the character. Like, he understands, right? I need to be creepy how can I be creepy? This
Yeah.
is how I can be creepy. And then he does that. Whereas other people are like, okay, I've been told to be creepy, so I'll do, this with my hands, or,
Yeah.
I'll like pull on my face, or all this, and I'm not saying that that's bad, but it does work sometimes, but it doesn't always work because they haven't captured the essence of creepy.
Yeah.
And
And I suppose that's what, as I said, those two films in particular, it really works with those guys. And it just goes to show that the range of, and I wouldn't be a huge Kevin Costner fan, but Jesus, I love that film.
have you seen the new Batman?
Oh yeah.
So like Paul Dano.
Now what else was he in again? Remind me.
So he's been in a couple of things, but like the thing, he gets how to be creepy. Now, is he the Joker? Or sorry, not the Joker. Is he the Riddler?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that he's what I think of when I think of the Riddler in Batman.
Oh no, it's a total different take.
Like
on the
they've gone completely different with them. So I probably would have liked if they went somewhere else and didn't make him the Riddler. If they made him a new character, which some people would hate because they'd be like, "Oh, we don't need a new villain."
They could have made him into someone like Hush.
Yeah, like someone just a little bit different, I think could have worked. But then again, I think he did a really good job. He was really creepy, really, can you catch me sort of thing.
Yeah. There was less emphasis on the riddles and more emphasis on the psychotic.
Yeah, and maybe that's what I wanted more of. Maybe I just wanted more riddles, and like that could come in the future because I don't know. Have you watched Gotham?
Oh yeah.
So the Riddler in that.
Yeah, but
I think he's brilliant.
He was the perfect Riddler. Yeah,
I think he was brilliant. I think the guy who played Penguin in that was perfect as well. Like I think that's one of the best casts I've ever seen.
It's brilliant
for like a Batman thing, and obviously it's a TV series, so it's a little bit different. But Paul Dano is so good at being that creepy character. He's in Prisoners. I don't know.
Okay.
Did you watch Prisoners?
No.
Prisoners is a one-time watch.
Right. Okay.
Not in the same way that
Blair Witch
is one-time watch. In the same way that Schindler's List is a one-time watch.
Oh, gotcha.
Not necessarily that it's a one-time watch, but you're not going to be sitting down to watch it. It's 3 hours long.
Right.
It's Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal, and then like Paul Dano's kind of a minor character in it. The basic plot line is it's 2 children go missing, kidnapped, and Hugh Jackman is the parent of one of the children, and Jake Gyllenhaal is the parent of another one of the children. And they're basically, the 3 hours is them trying to find their children. And it's not a horror, but it's very psychologically intense. Like if you put yourself into like I don't have kids, but like even I was able to put myself into the idea of if I had a kid, I would be freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like Hugh Jackman is one side of the coin. He's like, we think this guy did it, and it's Paul Dano. They think Paul Dano did it, right? And Paul Dano is meant to be like this. His character's kind of like this. I don't want to say teenaged guy, but he's like this mentally challenged guy. So like he's got the mind of a child, and they think he's done it. He's kidnapped them to be his friends or whatever. So like they capture him, and like they have him tied up in this bathroom in one of their houses, and he goes to beat Hugh Jackman's character goes to beat the ever living shit out of him like with a pipe. And he's like, I will kill you. Like, where is my daughter? And then Jake Gyllenhaal's character, who is like a police officer, is like, no, we can't, like, just like, let's take him in for questioning and stuff like, but he's still, I don't want to bring it to the police because they'll just let him go, and then he'll move the kids and this, that, and the other. Like, it's very psychologically draining. It's tough, and very tough watch.
That's like, sorry to cut across you there. That's like, if you're going back to the horror genre, Hereditary is like that.
Yeah, it's very similar to that. And what, like, my point there was like Paul Dano plays his character so well in that as well. Like you think of actors in so many different ways, but he plays that, like, he understands how, like in Batman, he understood how to be the creepy kind of Riddler character, and in this, he understood how to be the like naive, innocent, mentally challenged character. He's a very good actor. He understands, and it's not just expressions or things like that. Like, it's like he's zoned in. Like, you really believe that he is that character, which is what you were saying with Robin Williams, like he zoned in. He like you believed he was.
They embraced the
psychotic,
character.
like yeah.
One more before we move on to something else is Michael Douglas in Falling Down.
Oh yeah. Well, Michael Douglas as an actor, I think he's credited as being one of those type of actors anyway, isn't he?
But again, that was kind of outside his wheelhouse, you know?
Yeah, it was a bit, but like I think everyone views him as a very good actor, whereas I don't think people viewed Robin Williams as a great actor in that sense. I think now that people look back and think about the films he's been in, they're like, yeah, no, as an actor he was incredible, but for a long time he was the comedy, you know, ha ha ha, Robin Williams, ha ha ha.
Oh, hey, oh, you ever see the way Family Guy do?
Hey. Yeah. Oh, look at, I'm gonna do funny voices, ha ha, and you're like, yeah, great, but like you're a serious fucking actor, man.
So, let me see. Like there is different types of horrors, isn't there? Really? I mean, what really gets you going as a horror film? Like what style?
I like creature features, but
is that a Braid thing? Is it?
I don't know. See, I think I just like Jaws. I think I like Jaws so much that it's because it's so good. I just want another creature feature that's that good.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So I'm always like, can't wait for this creature feature. It's going to be deadly. And then it's not. And I'm always disappointed.
It's hard to get a good creature feature.
It is. And I think the problem is that you have to make a decision. Am I going to show the creature early, which can work? Or am I going to keep the creature to the, you know, bare minimum side the way Jaws did now? And I know Jaws, it was a technical issue, but it worked out for them. But you have to make that decision. Like we did, we recast Anaconda not too long ago on Retrotainment Recast. And it was great to go back and rewatch that. Like the acting is not great, but I think I think they actually did quite well with that one. I think we did Deep Blue Sea at one point as well. I think it's probably the second best shark film that I've seen.
The Meg is brilliant.
See, I haven't seen the Meg because I heard kind of bad things about it. So
I'm joking.
No, I think Deep Blue Sea is kind of considered kind of the second best shark film that's been made because it didn't try and be Jaws. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, and
they were like, we're going to make super intelligent sharks. So they were like, we're going all the way left field. Like I love Sharknado, but I mean, like I'm not saying Sharknado is good, but I love the whole concept of like, there's a tornado and you're like, oh shit, a tornado, because you're thinking Twister. And then you're like, but there's sharks in it. And you're like, oh shit, man. You know, you're sitting there at your fucking kitchen table and this tornado's zooming by and then a shark flies in your window. Fuck.
In terms of creature features, I like the Arachnophobia.
And then I suppose like I'd consider werewolf films creature features, and I'm always desperate for another good werewolf film. We don't get enough good werewolf films.
You know, I could talk about this topic like all day with you, you know.
Yeah, we won't go too far into werewolf, but you know, like I'd consider them a creature feature as well. So I think that's kind of where I come from on that. But then I love slashers as well, because obviously Scream would be kind of my second favorite horror. So I suppose I like psychological ones. Like I love 1408.
Yeah, you
I'm a huge fan of that. Like, it kind of got overlooked when it came out. Yeah, but I love it. Like, I think it's so good. And then Quiet Places. I suppose Quiet Place is technically a creature feature because they are creatures.
It is, yeah. Well, it's
again, very minimal use of the creatures. So,
but when they use it, they use it greatly.
Exactly. Yeah, they do it brilliantly. So, there's no particular genre of horror that I love, but I think it's just I like the story. I that's what I want is a story. I want to be hooked in and like who done it, you know.
Yeah.
Are they going to survive the creature attacking them? You know, is the killer going to get this person? Of all of that.
Do you like what do you like with like modern horror? Do you like you know, the kind of stuff that we would have talked about over the last while on the show, the likes of like I said, Hereditary, Midsummer, all that kind of stuff.
I think there's been a few very good ones. Like I'll discount Scream 6 because it's a franchise, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'll discount things like that. But X was very good. Fresh, I think, was very good.
That was very good.
Is Fresh a horror or is it a psychological thriller? I would I'd still consider a psychological thriller as a horror because
Yeah,
1408 is a psychological thriller with ghosts and shit. So
it's a little offshoot, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I would consider that. There was one I watched, Choose or Die.
Oh, I know it, but I haven't watched it yet.
I really like it. I'm big into video games and stuff like that, so I
Yeah.
love the whole concept of it. I'll give like a quick synopsis without giving anything away because obviously it's only come out this year. It's on Netflix for any of you who wants to watch it. I think it's a Netflix original film. The concept is that somebody creates this game and you're given two options. So, you know, like cut your hand off or, you know, cut your foot off, something like that, you know? And it's a video game. So like you're thinking, okay, my character is either going to have no foot or going to have no hand in the video game, but it's a text-based game. So real old school. So you don't see your character, but it's not your stuff. So it's like, I think the first option he's given is like your wife's ear or your son's throat. So like cut your son's throat or cut your wife's ear off, you know, one of those two. And so he's like, and it kind of like, the screen starts shaking, and it's like, you better choose one. So eventually, like, your man hits like whatever, and you don't see what he picks. And then it cuts to like his wife, and her ears are like gone. There's just these bloody stumps where her ears are.
Jesus.
And like, you know, you see him do that once or twice, and then it like that's before the intro to the film. Like that's the intro to the film. And then, you know, that's it. You don't see his last question get answered.
All right.
And then somebody else gets the game, you know, similar to Jumanji, somebody else gets the game 30 years from now, you know, and now they're getting all these questions of, will you kill this you know, cut off your hand or cut off your best friend's, like take your best friend's eyes out or something, like, you know, like mental shit like that.
Yeah.
So like that's the whole concept of it.
Interesting.
So it's I like it because it's like it's kind of video game based, and like we like other than Videodrome, we don't really get a whole lot of stuff like that. And because VR and stuff is such a big thing now, I think there's a big market to make video game type ones now.
Yeah.
I quite liked this, but it was like based in the 80s, or sorry, it's not based in the 80s, but it's based on an 80s style game of you know text-based games, which was a big thing in the 80s.
They were actually, yeah.
So I think that was very good, but I would say most people probably wouldn't enjoy it as much as I did. But that if you're not a big gamer, you probably don't enjoy it as much.
You're easily pleased.
I am easily pleased, but like I like video games, so I like the idea of them using video games. It's not like massively video game based, but I liked the idea that they tried to incorporate that. So like that was a big selling point for me.
Speaking of video games, what's the best horror video game you've played?
So I haven't played this one yet. The Quarry has just come out.
That's only out, yeah.
I am big time wanting to play that. I read up on it, and you can change loads of settings and stuff on it.
Right.
You can basically change all the settings so that you don't play it at all, and it just plays out like a film.
Oh, cool.
You basically just watch it, and then you can go back and recalibrate the settings so that certain things, like you can't make this decision. So like there's certain decisions you can make, you know, talk to this person or talk to this person, and that'll base, you know, that might end up getting that person killed, or it might save the other person or whatever. And like I don't know what happens in it, but like that's the theory, is that like you go off and you do this, and it affects it, like, you know, stay in the group so you don't get killed. So you leave that guy to go talk to that guy, and then that guy gets killed, you know. So then the next time you play, you might be like, great, well I'll go to him this time because maybe I'll survive the next time if I go that way, you know, sort of thing. So that sounds really interesting. One I have played, I think the one that creeped me out the most that I have played, and I have not played much of it because it genuinely fucking freaked me out, because I get really into video games. Not in the sense that, well, yes, in the sense that I play a shit ton of them, but when I play a game with a character, I like to be that character.
Yeah.
So in my mind, that's me. You know, if my character dies in the game, to me, I'm that character. So I've now died in the game. You know, so I don't want to die in the game.
Yeah.
I really don't want to fucking die. So when I play a horror game, I put myself into it. So I jump scare myself massively in games. So I'll be on the keyboard and mouse. I'll be like walking down here, and I'll see like a zombie over there. I'll be right. I'll go this way, go over that way, and then another zombie will pop out. I'll be fucking, oh Jesus! I'll fucking freak, like, and like I used to stream it, and so I used to fucking like scare the shit out of myself. But I played one called Phasmophobia, and I only played the intro. Fuck me. Jesus. Like, I want to play more Phasmophobia, but I want to play it with people because it freaked me out when I played it on my own. So Phasmophobia is like, you're basically the Ghostbusters, right? But you have to go into the house, but you don't know what type of ghost it is, and this, that, and the other. So it's like, go into the house, and sometimes you'll go in and, you know, it's really cold in this part of the house. You're like, okay, so the ghost is around here. And it's like, put down, different ghosts do different shit. Like, so then you're like, I'll put down this book and then I'll read what it says. Then you read it and it's like, get out, die. And you're like, oh shit. And then, you know, sometimes the front door slams. And when the front door slams, that means the ghost is about to kill somebody. So you have to like run into the corner of one of the rooms and just duck down and hope like that you don't get killed. And like, that's it. Like, you just have to hope. Oh, I hope I don't get killed. Wow. So like, you're sitting there and you're like, fuck. And then you survive and you're like, get me out of this fucking house. Like, it's scary. Like, if you put yourself into it, it is like, it's terrifying.
Oh, it can be.
Dead by Daylight's very good as well. Paige from WWE plays a shit ton of that.
Does she?
Yeah, she plays a shit ton of that. She plays loads of that. A couple of the other girls used to play Phasmophobia, so like Shayna Baszler, Dakota Kai.
Right.
I watched them as them two, Mia Yim, and then what's the other girl's name? She was one of the 4 horsewomen, like the 4 MMA horsewomen. So there was like Shayna, Ronda, and then
Jessamine Duke was there, something like that.
Jessamine Duke, that's the one, yeah. So like the 4 of them were playing it together, and they're like really good at it. But like, they even like, when you're watching them, the 4 of them are freaking out while they're playing it, and like, they play loads of it, so they're like well used to it. And even they freak out. So I love that. Yeah, I love getting into horror games because I get into it. I'm fucking I'm in there, like, I'm real in there, and I get freaked the fuck out when I play it.
You know, there's 2 just one from when I was younger, which was the original Silent Hill.
Oh yeah.
And I remember myself and my mate were playing at like 3 a.m. or whatever, and we were kind of half dozing off or whatever. And there was a part where you're in the school, and you just see this little kid running. You know, it's a little ghost. You see him running around, and we're like, "What the fuck was that?" So then all of a sudden we just hear this. And we don't know what was that. Walk up to this locker, and a cat jumps out going, "Meow!" And me and my mate, and like, we're fucking, you know, in our 20s, whatever, and we're like, "Oh fuck this! What was that?" Woke up the whole house.
And then, you know, you don't want to be the one to jump because you're like, you know, I'm a man, huh?
The 2 of us jumped though.
Nothing scares, but like, you like, even like, you're sitting there, you're like that. It's different. Like, people would say Resident Evil, right? Resident Evil never really freaked me out.
No,
I'd never get that jump scare in Resident Evil, because even though like there is bits of Resident Evil that would be quite scary, but like, you know, you're going in with a gun, and you know, like, I'd play House of the Dead and stuff. Like, none of them would bother me.
That was great.
Like, great games, but like, they wouldn't, like, I'd never jump scare in them because, you know, you're just walking around, you've got a gun. Whereas Phasmophobia, you have no way to defend yourself other than to hide in the corner. Monstrum was another very good one. Monstrum, you were in like there's different levels. One of them, you're on like a boat, and you have to like run around this boat, and there's a monster running around it, right? But like, you're running around and you're trying to find like the parts to like rebuild the helicopter. Like, so the helicopter's built, but like, it's missing, you know, the whatever parts it's missing. So you need to collect this and this, and like, there's 6 or 7 different parts, and then you need to get over and put them together. While you're doing that, you're making noise running around this ship, so the monster's following you around. So you're like, you'll get into like, you know, those big like teacher lockers, you know, the ones that you could stand into. So you have to like open the door and hide in there, but there's like a row of them, and the monster will like rip one open, and then he'll rip another open, and you're like, fuck, he's gonna rip my one open, and then he might or he might not. But like, the thing is, you have no way to defend yourself, and that's what I like about that. Like, those are the ones that make me jump scare, because you're kind of more in it. You don't have a way, like, you're not shooting or gunning anything down. Like, it's literally
it's tension. Like,
you're like, can I survive? You know, and as you say, it's the atmosphere of it. You know, you go in and you're like, can I survive? Like, I have no way to defend myself. If this monster comes at me, I am fucked. Like, I can throw digs at him, but I mean, like,
you'll get 2 digs in and you're eating them.
Yeah, like, this thing's a big fucking flesh-eating monster, or like not Dead by Daylight. Is it Dead by Daylight that can't remember the name of it, but like, whichever one it is, like, you're running around and you're trying to like like fix these generators so you can open this door to get out. And
That
stuff.
is Dead by Daylight, isn't
I think
it?
I don't know if it's Dead, but there's a couple of them that are kind of like that. I think it might be Dead by Daylight, but
There's Friday the 13th as well. You have to do that.
yeah, I think it probably is Dead by Daylight actually. But like you're running around, you're trying to do that, and like yeah, okay, the monster just gets you and he puts you up on this hook, right?
Yeah.
And then you have to try and get your like you know, there's 4 of you playing, so like you can save each other. But like again, you've no real way to defend yourself. You're just running away. So when he's chasing you, like that one's not as jump scary, you know. That one's a bit more like panicky. You're like, oh shit, is he gonna catch me? Is he gonna catch me? Can I get away? Can I get away? Whereas the other ones are a bit more jump scary. And
I have a jump scary one for you.
yeah, go.
And you know, it's Alien Isolation.
Yeah, that's another good one. Yeah.
Oh my Jesus, I
Out in
played
deep
that.
space.
Oh my God. And like that, you're in one of the little lockers or whatever, and the aliens walking past and all this kind of shit, you know, and it's looking looking into the, and you're like, oh, and you have to lean back so that you don't breathe onto it.
Yeah.
Deadly.
See, I love that stuff. And like, yeah, okay, I'll yeah, maybe I'll get a lot of shit in the comments and stuff. People being like, oh, how can you be jump scared by that? Because I put myself in it. Like I play those games as if it's me. Like genuinely, I go into those games and I'm like, forget about the fact that this is a video game. This isn't a video game to me anymore. Like
you immerse yourself into
that's me. That's me in there. And I do not want to be caught by that big fucking monster. I do not want to be killed. Like, and you know, I'm not an idiot. I'm not sitting there going, if this thing kills me, like I'm gonna die in real life. Like I'm not saying that, but I immerse myself into it. And it's just similar. Like I don't immerse myself in a film the same way.
Yeah, I get you.
I don't try to lose my like when I do like analytics of films, I watch them in a different way. But when I'm going into a film and I just want to watch it and just want to see what it's like, I don't go in looking for shit. Like I kind of tend to notice loads of that weird stuff in those films. So like, oh, like Ghostbusters, for example, when you could see the dates. I remember Greg mentioned it when you did the new Ghostbusters, where I'd said, did you not see the next set of dates? It's like 2024 or whatever. And I was like, that's when the next film will be. That's stuff that I notice as I'm going along. But I'm sure if I notice that because there's nothing really happening at the time while that's panning, and like that's meant to be the focus.
Yeah.
Whereas I'd say if I watched it again, there'd be other little bits and pieces. And so if I was watching it with that in mind, like right, I'm trying to find these things, I will find some stuff. Whereas other times I go in and I'm like, I just want to watch it, like just check my brain at the door, watch it, get lost, see what happens, you know, like Halloween and the new Halloweens. Let's just see what happens. Let's not go, is it going to be as good as the original? Or how does this compare to the original? No.
Just enjoy it.
Just go in, enjoy it. And like when I come out, did I enjoy that? Yes, I did.
That's the way horror should be. And if it makes you feel something more than just enjoying it, I think that's a bonus, because like, let's be honest, horror is meant to shock you, scare you, you know, entice you, all these different types of things, you know. But the thing about it is, we could talk all day, you and me, about this kind of stuff. And as we said, this was just a little bit of a chat between the two boys, and I really enjoyed it. You know, it really was unscripted. It was just off the cuff, chatting away, and we hope you enjoyed it. And as always, it's fantastic to have I suppose you could say, the unofficial fourth member of the gang, Tombstone, in with us. And
I'm usually in the background.
Yes.
Pulling strings, the puppet master, as they say.
You are, and you're good at that, you know. But like I said, we could talk about this kind of stuff all night, but we're not.
This is what we do.
Yeah.
This is what, like, our group. If you can see our group chat, this is the shit that goes on in this. Like, this is just us talking shite about horror all day.
And we thought we'd just bring some of it to you tonight, just to, you know, give you an idea of the nerds that we are, I suppose you could say. You know. But look, I mean, you know, I think we'll wrap it up here. And it's been a fantastic little discussion. It's like many discussions, as you said, that we all have. So it gives people an idea of, as I said, of what we're talking about when we're not on the screen. So
and if you like it, you know, let us know, because it's not just me and Carl that are like this. You know, the 4 of us are like this. So,
Yes.
you could get Ian and Greg doing it, Carl and Greg, me and Greg.
Yeah, I think
If you like seeing the way our minds work when we're talking about this shit, let us know. Like,
absolutely. I think
happy to
these.
do more episodes like
Yeah,
this.
I think like shooting the shit with each other. Every now and again, a little break from a film or a break from a list or a break from a guest. It's just something different.
Yeah.
And we do it because we love it and we do it because it's fun. But before we go, always check out Retrotainment Recast. I love that show, as you know, Ted. I've had the honor of being on the show, and I believe I'm going to be on it again. We won't say anything about that just yet.
We'll have to get you on again. Yeah, I know you're a big fan. You're always texting me each week.
Yeah,
I don't know about that pick. I don't know about that one. And I'm like, oh well,
I think poor Greg has been screwed over a few times on that show, but look, that's not my place to say.
I've been screwed over fucking plenty of times on that show.
It's a brilliant show. It's a brilliant concept. So check out Retrotainment Recast, and I'm sure this won't be the last time we see you, Ted.
Not a doubt it.
Yeah. Like I said, you're I suppose the unofficial fourth member now, which I think is great.
I got a lovely comment there the other week on your last episode. Last episode, yeah, someone was like, "He's a handsome fella." Thanks, guys.
They have taste, haven't they?
Well, I don't know. There was, me and Greg there, so wasn't
that much of a choice, I know. But
yeah, look, it's an easier choice, like me or Greg.
You were a soulless redhead. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't even have a soul, so obviously, they just preferred somebody with a soul. You know what I mean?
Right. Look, we're going to get the hell out of here, people. And again, thanks, Tombstone Ted, for joining me on tonight's show. And next week, we'll probably have the top 10 from the 60s. So that's going to be a good show. That is going to be a good show.
Getting closer and closer to the more recent ones.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think it's going to be for me, the 70s and the 80s is going to be a really tough one to do. Yeah. But look, I'm looking forward to that, and I hope you all are too as well. But until next week, don't forget, watch your horror films and stay scared. Woo! There we go. How long did that go for, actually?
I don't know.